So today I just want to tackle something that I truly believe has a lot of negative connotations or preconceived notions behind it, and that is sin. And I just wanted to go through the idea that sin is often seen as something that God has created to ruin our fun. That God is a bit of a party pooper by making sure that all the good stuff cannot be done and making us become boring, dull Christians in life. And when you have that kind of perspective, it kind of creates the idea that sin becomes so much more tempting, too good to miss, and that you should indulge yourself in it because, it's fun, it's not to be missed, it's the thing in town. Whereas when you look at Christianity, it's boring and it's dull. This creates a tension in your life that makes it so much harder for you to lead a good, righteous life and not fall into the trappings of sin. And if we were to shift our understanding from what is sin to why is it a sin, we actually begin to get an outlook of why God has outlawed certain things and why God has placed boundaries among us in our lives. As Paul the Apostle said, you could do anything, but not everything is beneficial for you. And this creates a great idea that things that we do creates consequences. Good things that we do, we have good consequences. Bad things that we do, we have bad consequences. We can do whatever we want, but we have to be ready to face the consequences. As someone put it into perspective for me, he was a dad, and he was saying, as a father, I don't want my daughter to get hurt. As a father, I want everything good for my daughter. When I'm holding her hand, walking across the street, I'm holding her hand because I want to protect her. Because if I let go of her and let her run around, she's going to run across the road and anything could happen to her. So as the father, I want to protect my daughter. So I've placed boundaries among her. I've taught her how to live a life that is responsible. I've taught her what not to do and what to do in order to help her understand her actions and consequences. And as a result, I can give my tender love and care to her because I'm protecting her with everything I have. In the same way, God is our Father. He wants to protect us from the things that will hurt us, that will destroy us, that will lead us to places that we shouldn't be because this is going to bring damage to our lives and our relationships. God has called sin anything that hurts us and also hurts other people. Because when you think about it, if I lie to somebody, I'm hurting a relationship between one another. If I steal from somebody, I'm taking away from somebody, and that's not going to build a relationship. If I commit adultery, I'm taking away, hurting a relationship between two people and trying to fulfill my own desire as a result. And that's hurting all of our relationships. And God is a God of community. He's a God of relationships, and He wants to see us build healthy relationships as a result, to live in a healthy community that glorifies Him. So God wants to give us His tender love and care, and He does that by placing boundaries, saying, hey, remain with these boundaries and you'll live a fruitful life. If you step out of those boundaries, you will face danger. And it's so cool to hear that because it's an incredible shift from perceiving God as a God who wants to ruin our fun, who wants to take away our joy, to a God that loves us so much that He's actually taken the offenses by saying, hey, here are your boundaries. I love you. I want you to remain in my love. And if we begin to see the real damage that sin causes, the real consequences behind the sin that looks so good and so tempting, we begin to see how much more God has for us. It's so much more than we can imagine. So much more than the meaningless sexual flings that you might be having. So much more than the unhealthy highs that drug use brings. So much more than the damage that alcohol abuse can bring. And we begin to see God as a Father who loves us. We begin to tap into the freedom that God has for us. Because when we entertain sin in our lives, we begin to become trapped by the strongholds and the bondages of sin, because we're either free in God's love or we're either trapped by the sinful action and the consequences that He brings in our life. God wants you to gain simple satisfaction from Him, and that comes from Him only. God wants you to live in His joy, and out of that to build healthy relationships, to be in a healthy state of mind, to live vigorously in His goodness. And when you begin to live in this way and walking with God, you begin to be captivated by His love, to find immense freedom within His boundaries, and not bound by rules and not just being frustrated by the temptation that surrounds you, that you begin to understand that there is something better and greater for you. So when we live in His righteousness, within His commands, we begin to find immense freedom in His name, immense freedom in His ways.